Hello, this is Neil from MasterPaintingNow.com. You can check out more of my free tutorials. In this tutorial, I want to show you the power of form. Form is what gives everything its three-dimensional shape. It's what makes your art pop off the page. It's what gives it the very look of the object that it is that you're drawing. It's what gives it its very nature. And it will look like it because, now, so far, this doesn't look so much like a person. It does look a little bit like a person. This is a technique using angles. We'll go back in a second and we'll start from the beginning and we'll draw another person using this technique. But I just want to first quickly show the power of form because, like I tell you, form gives everything life. Now watch how fast this picture will take life and begin to look like something that we all recognize. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. That wasn't supposed to be like that. And this is just very, very simple lighting. And this is why I decided to come out with my course on form, lighting, and perspective. It's because it is the fundamentals of what will make you a good artist. It's understanding these subjects, mastering these subjects that will get you to draw anything in 3D, to really make things pop off the page. I think that's what every artist strives to be able to do. So with just a few strokes of the pen, we get something that resembles a person, more so than it did before we added the shading. And this is just very basic, the most basic level of shading here. We haven't added a second light source or anything. We haven't even really began to get this one particular light source to be as powerful as it can be. And watch, especially if we zoom far away, you can see the image reads as a person because of the forms there. And that's the power of form. So I just wanted to demonstrate the power of form. It's really awesome. It's definitely worth learning the power of form. If you want to kind of see this more in action, it's really cool. I'm a how-to junkie, meaning I like to watch a lot of how-to videos, and I like to read a lot of how-to books on all the subjects that I enjoy learning about. And I read a lot on writing and on drawing and stuff and painting and whatnot. Anyway, so there's a new course I came across, and it's really cool, and I like it. And anyway, so you just go on my website, and it's drawing portraits. What's cool is it also comes with a two-part tutorial for drawing figures, and I learned a lot from the course, which is why I'm supporting it. He's not the same kind of teacher I am, but he teaches certain things that are really cool. Also, if you like the whole Asmir effect, that relaxing feeling you get when you watch videos, his voice does that for me, so it's really cool. So yeah, anyways, we're checking out. I enjoyed it, at least. Alright, so now let's go ahead and draw another figure here using the same kind of principle, but now I'm going to show the original principle, which how I got the figure in the first place, which is using angles instead of anything else. So first thing I'm going to do is kind of figure out where the shoulders will be. Let's kind of pull the center line, and actually I like to kind of pull my center line like this. If it depends on how it is, I like to kind of show that the chest is kind of pushing out this way, and show that with that center line. Next is going to be the hips, and I kind of want them at kind of opposite angles because it adds more, I think, more power and strength to the pose. This arm will be coming forward, but it's going to be coming back this way, so that arm is being foreshortened. That is, this part here is coming out as being foreshortened. This arm will kind of drop back behind her, and will come up here where this arm is being foreshortened. And we'll see the front of her fist. Next we have the hips, and so we just have to get the legs coming. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit more. That's weird. I don't know why it does that. It's like gone, and I deleted it already. Yet when I zoom out like that, it showed it for a second. That's like some weird Photoshop thing. I never noticed it doing that before. This leg will be coming more forward. So just getting a basic like stick figure like that will really help you flesh out your character. And then once you have all that figured out, you can kind of figure out, okay, this is where my chest is going to be, the rib cage. I'm going to see more of this side than that side, so I'm going to add that kind of three-dimensionality to the character here by adding in this right here. That's the three-dimensionality. Push out here, belly button area. Let's kind of pull in the crotch area like this. Kind of pull in the legs. This leg is going to be coming a lot more forward. And so just kind of focusing on the angles rather than any sort of anatomy or anything, and with that, instead of trying to do any sort of roundness, you really just focus on angles first. Then you might want to, add maybe a little bit of roundness to some parts. Maybe start to add more of a oval head in there. The goal here, though, is really to try to capture it with the least amount of strokes. That's why angles are good. Okay, the other arm is being foreshortened, like I said, and so we can only see part of it, and it's being hidden as well. Might make that a little bit wider, make our hips a little bit wider here. Like that. And so now we start to get this kind of, this figure in front of us here. And at this stage, it's kind of, it's kind of hard to see any form or anything there. Take a small eraser, and I'm going to have to use a small brush because I accidentally drew on the same layer. Just going to kind of erase some of these center lines inside there. That skeleton. Go back to black. And as we begin to add just very basic lighting here, all this arm will be shaded. We'll do a little bit darker value. You can notice the power of form take shape. Let's say there's a strong cast shadow here for the arm. Again, we'll just do it as angles. We're not going to worry about details and stuff right now. And even though there's like really no details and stuff, you're still going to see a very clear defined shape. Sometimes it helps to draw the lines where you're going to be, doing your shadow first. Before you actually do your shadow. Again, this is just very quick, loose. You're just focusing on the basic shapes of the character, of the figure. But as you can see, you get something that reads 3D, especially when you view it from far off. And once you have something like that down, you have this idea of form down, then you can come in and you can refine this image and start adding all the detail to it that would make it. Let's give her really low. And if we're kind of looking up at her, this would not, this line would actually, this curve would actually be up like this. But So yeah, let's say we're looking up at it more because it kind of looks more like that anyway. So this curve of the shirt would be like this. We kind of see the curve on top of the tank top. Anyway, you'd start to add all the details that would make your image look like a drawing. I'm not going to go through all that time here with you, but hopefully you can see how if you take this principle and apply it, how you can quickly get something that looks, 3D. And then once you have something that looks 3D, you can go in and start adding all the details to it. And then, kind of erase this or turn the opacity down. In this case, I have to make a new layer anyway. You turn the opacity down, or if I wanted to erase that, I'd use white now. And so it's going to be like that, and then you would draw over it with the new layer, but all this information's there, the form's there. So when the form is right, everything else is going to be right. So if you go over this drawing then, and you start adding in, I should probably draw with this or something. Anyway, you come back over it, and you start to draw. You're actually going to start drawing the character now, and you want to do all the little details and stuff. So you're going to have the wrinkles in the shirt and all this here. The shirt kind of comes down to the side like that, but you want to make sure it kind of rounds over her breast right here, then comes down, and it'll have a couple wrinkles here. Oops, come on, stupid driver. Have a couple more wrinkles in here. Actually, the wrinkles would probably go up more. So it'd probably come up like this more. Another one here. Let's say this has come down, it's being tucked in. A couple wrinkles here. And there'll probably be a couple more wrinkles in this area. And then you would, when you add, you see the form is already there, so you would add this, into the drawing. And as you add all this into the drawing, all this information, so all this right here, for example, is one shadow of her arm being cast from the lighting. And after you take the time to really go ahead and shade all this, then I'd go back in with the eraser and I would show some of the form of the shirt within that shadow. But all the light within that shadow is going to be a lot darker than the light anywhere else. And let's just say, to do this more quickly, get more of a painted look anyway, like so. Then I would take a lighter color, not too light, but lighter than what's in here, and then I can add some of the like this will be where you can see some of the lighter part of the wrinkles in here, like this. Okay, that's driver arrow again. Maybe see a couple. Oops. I think we'll go here, a little bit of wrinkle there, like that. And you continue to draw this thing out with all this kind of detail. Kind of come up to this point here, come over here. All this would be, kind of dark, but you can have some darker parts within the shadow as well. There's even form within the shadow, unless they're like really, really dark shadows and you can't see anything at all. Anyway, so you continue to develop this. And this is now more like a painting, but the shadow would come here, follow within the wrinkles, and kind of come down this area like this. There'd be some wrinkles here that have shadow in them. Some of these wrinkles that would come down, there'd be dark areas. And then there'd probably be a good, nice gradient of dark that kind of fades over here into light. And I would, add all that, and so forth. And you start, just rendering it out, and then eventually you'd get something that looks like a finished drawing. But having that quick undersketch, the form undersketch, is what's going to get you there. So, anyway, I just want to demonstrate the power of form, how you can take something that looks very stick figure-y, very angled, where the two-dimensional drawing doesn't look very good at all, and doesn't really resemble the person too much, but then when you add the shading Simple. One key light shading. It's the most basic shading you can learn. Most basic lighting system you can learn with when you're dealing with the most basic form, which is what I went there. And then once you get that down, you start adding a secondary light source, which is really kind of easy too once you get it down. Anyway, it's a big subject, form, lighting, big subject, also perspective, and it's all going to be on one course. And it's just going to take your drawings to a whole new level. They'll pop off the page and be really cool. So, but if you wanted to check out that portrait thing I was talking about, the master portrait on my website, just go to my website. You'll see some links to it. It's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. You might enjoy it too. I learned something from it. I always learn something, even when I go back over some of my stuff I've seen before, some of the how-to books I read before, I go and read it again. It's like, oh, I picked something new out by it. So sometimes it's worth going over it more than once too. Give it some time, give it a couple months, and go back over it again. All right, so thank you for watching. Go ahead and leave some comments, some ratings, appreciate it. Oh yeah, subscribe if you want to see future stuff. And also on my website, I have a blog where I'm going to be, blogging new stuff that comes out and everything. So that's another way to keep in touch.